There's a great scene from the late 90s movie The Wedding Singer. A broken-hearted Adam Sandler realizes that he's in love with a woman who is engaged to someone else, and he goes to the bar to pour out his sorrows to his friend Sammy. Sammy, as you can tell from the jacket, is a fun-loving, womanizing playboy type, and Adam Sandler proclaims that from now on he's going to be just like Sammy. He's done with love. He wants to have a different girl every night, just parties and good times, because Sammy looks so happy. But Sammy takes a big drink, tells the truth. He's not happy. He's empty and scared. He's worried about getting old alone. All I really want, Sammy says, is someone to hold me and tell me that everything is going to be all right. And so the senile old guy at the end of the bar gets up and puts his arm around Sammy. Everything is going to be all right. Good morning. My name is Joe. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm here to tell you everything's going to be all right. If you want me to hold you, well, we might have to have a little talk with HR. Everything is going to be all right. You're okay. You're going to be okay. Well, that's a complicated phrase. One place that I hear "you're okay" is on playgrounds with my kids. Someone slips and bangs a knee and starts wailing, and a parent comes running over. "It's okay, you're okay, come on, you're all right, you're okay." As a parent, I get that. Most of the time, the kid really is okay physically. And they are looking to the adult that they trust to help them regulate their emotional response to this thing that's happened. And if the parent is reassuring, "You're okay, no harm done, it's safe to go back to playing," that helps the kid with their response. "Oh, yeah, I am okay, they're not panicked, so I don't need to be panicked." The tears quickly pass and everyone moves forward because everything is okay. But sometimes that "you're okay" is actually about the caregiver and not the child. "Ugh, toughen up, you're okay. Let's not make this a big deal. I'm uncomfortable with your tears and your vulnerability." Or, "Seriously, again, we don't have time for this right now. Just suck it up, walk it off. You're going to have to suffer through it, and you're going to be okay." That exasperation. Or sometimes things are not actually okay. There is a serious injury, and the "you're okay" means, "I don't know how to handle this. I'm scared, and I need you to be okay." I've been there. No judgment from me. But "you're okay" isn't always helpful. I hope I never say it at a funeral, for example, although I have heard similar expressions at times. It's the kind of thing that just slips out when someone is crying and I feel awkward. "They're there, it's okay. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know what to do with your pain, and so I minimize it. I dismiss it." We are uncomfortable with the awkwardness and uncertainty and fragility of living in these human bodies with all of our emotional and rational and spiritual limitations. Everything's going to be all right. That can be a shallow defense against that deep, dark reality. So yeah, I'm here to tell you everything is going to be okay. And I'm well aware of the potential for sentimentality and wishful thinking and avoidance in that phrase. And yet, that desire for things to be all right is real. There is deeper truth to that phrase, especially as people of faith. We just sang the famous words of Julian of Norwich, "But all will be well, and all will be well, and every kind of thing will be well." That is at the core of my faith. On Eternity Sunday, as we name our losses and feel the grief of our shared mortality, I truly am here to tell you, I believe all will be well. In spite of, through, and beyond all of it, with eyes wide open, everything is going to be all right. That's still pretty vague. It still sounds kind of like wishful thinking. That's fair. I don't know any more about eternity, for sure, than you do. So how can I say with any kind of conviction, everything is going to be okay? Good question. Here's another one. What do you actually need to be okay? What's the bottom line, bare minimum definition? If I don't have these things, then all is not well with me. What's on your list? My first take would be something like the list of gratitudes around the Thanksgiving table. I need my health. I need friends and family, good relationships. I need safety, security, stability. I need meaningful work. I need rest, beauty, creativity, the good things of life. Those are things that I am grateful for. If I don't have those things, I am going to let you know. I'm guaranteed to complain about that. When I don't have these, I usually don't feel okay. But are those true needs? Can I be okay without them? I don't like thinking about this for sure, but realistically, well, for starters, I have to cut out anything physical. I know we all want a healthy body, freedom from pain, a good long life. But to be very blunt, good luck with that. That is not what we've been signed up for. We are all made of flesh. Our bodies are all in some stage of aging, breaking down, getting weaker, getting more painful. Comedian philosopher Jimmy Carr points out that 30 years from now, you will look back on the, on the body that you are in right now with deep envy. In 30 years, you would give anything to feel exactly as good as you do right now, with all the aches and pains wherever you are. Sorry to break the news. This ride only goes one way. If physical health is your measure for being okay, well, it's a pretty hopeless existence to be human. This story is not going to end well for your body. And that goes for most of the other things on my list. My friends and family, my work here with you good people, my skills and capacities, all of that is so fragile. All of it is fading. All of the stuff around us is going to change eventually. This too shall pass. And yet, we are still going to be okay. Think of the ancient story of Job. His whole life was upended in a day. His wealth, his status, his family, his personal health, all of it just gone. And yet he carried on. He held on to something. Because as much as all of this stuff matters, and it definitely does matter to me, there is another level that matters more. So when you peel back all the layers in the sum of human existence, there is a core that carries on. What is that core for you? What do you actually need to be okay? We've been talking here at Wildwood for the last month or so about Martin Luther's beloved community. And Martin Luther King called this deep core the three dimensions of a complete life. He talked about length, the inner relationship with the self. I guess his length went this direction. And then there's breadth, the wider relationships with the others, with the world, that invisible string concept. And then there is height, the vertical relationship with God, the wholeness and transcendence, and that piece that is connected deep within me as well. I also like the language that I learned from Betty Priest and Brene Brown, meaning, purpose, and belonging. I think that's the same thing that they're talking about. Meaning is this height dimension. I need to have some sense of understanding, context. I need to be able to see that there is some value, some meaning underneath all of this existence. I would name that as creator, the God of life, the divine spark. But it doesn't bother me if others don't call it that. I don't have to understand the meaning. I can't really understand the meaning. What I need is the belief that there is a meaning. I need the mystery, knowing that there is something there even beyond my understanding. And then there's the purpose, what King called the length, the inner depth, knowing who I am and what I'm doing here, what I'm called to do. Again, I don't need to know the specifics, but I do need this sense that my life, myself, I matter. My choices, my efforts, my trying really hard, my being who I am, it makes a difference to someone in some way. And then belonging, obviously, is that breadth of life. Again, there exists this whole wide world, an infinite universe. And though my part is small, I am connected in some way, in very real ways. You are part of that connection. Those of you in the room right here, those of you online, near and far, and all of those creatures, big and small. As Valerie Kaur constantly reminds me, you, all of this, you are a part of me that I do not yet know. That's the core of life for me, meaning, purpose, and belonging, height, length, and breadth. Or, in the ancient words of the Apostle Paul, faith, hope, and love. Maybe I'm just playing silly word games this morning, but it sure seems to me that faith is the same as meaning, this upward dimension. To have hope is to have purpose, and love is belonging, the width and breadth. The Apostle Paul, Martin Luther King, and Brene Brown, all talking about the same thing. And the good news of the day, faith, hope, and love, these three remain. They linger, they last, they abide. When all else fails, when all the stuff of this life is stripped away, even to the worst case scenario, as with Job, when all is gone, faith, hope, and love remain. Or so I've been told. To be clear, I am not Job. I haven't gone very far down that path, not yet, though it is coming for all of us again. But the ancient testimony of our mothers and fathers, the fathers and mothers of our faith, the story of the Exodus, the witness of the prophets, of Jesus and his disciples, of the martyrs, of the billions of ordinary people of faith, their witness is that when all else fails, faith, hope, and love remain. At the core, beyond the end, there is still meaning, purpose, and belonging. That's the witness of humanity before us, faith, hope, and love, generation to generation. And we see that witness in the world around us today as well. There are so many people who don't have what I consider to be the essentials, and they continue to find meaning, purpose, and belonging. There's so many people who experience losses that I would think of as crushing existential crises, and yet faith, hope, and love endure. In the face of tragedy, people continue to search for and find meaning. They find reason to keep moving forward. They continue to show up for each other, helping one another. And no, not everyone. Not every individual finds the meaning, purpose, and belonging that they need to carry on. Sometimes we are overwhelmed, and that is tragedy. And yet, even in those stories, there is always someone who believes, someone who hopes, someone who helps, someone whose very tears are a window into that something more that endures. That's what we're doing here today in this service. In a few minutes, we will read through a list of people that we have known and loved that have died in the past year. And I don't have to tell you, in each of these deaths, though the individual is with us no more, the meaning, purpose, and belonging of their lives remains. That invisible string is still attached. We will name those things this morning. We'll name them out loud. We will name them through the simple act of lighting a candle. Do their lives still have meaning after their deaths? Absolutely. They mean something to us. We name it. We feel it. Do they still have purpose? Well, they must. We keep bringing them up. They might no longer have agency or will as individuals, but they have an impact still. They still serve us. They still inspire. They move us. Their memories continue to bring joy and wisdom and yearning, all the things. They have purpose. Do they still have belonging? Well, here we are, making space for them today, even in death. The connection endures long after the individual life has ended. They are gone, and yet they have those three dimensions, length and breadth and height. Faith, hope, and love remain. I know that's all very short term in the face of eternity. Next year, we will gather here again. We will have a new list of names and sorrows. Some of these on our list from this year will be forgotten by many of us. And then the year after that, we will gather again, more losses. Eventually, some of us that are here, some of us online, will find ourselves making personal appearances in the slideshow, assuming we still do slideshows. Eventually, all of us will be gone. Eventually, everyone who knows these names will pass as well. What remains then? When I am, as an individual, am truly gone, when nobody remembers my name, when my fingerprints have all been erased in the flow of history, which will take like 5 minutes, when Joe Heikman inevitably ceases to exist in this world, will I still have meaning, purpose, and belonging? Will there be faith, hope, and love, of which I am a part? That's the question. I can't see that far ahead. There's something in science called the law of conservation of energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form of energy to another. This means that a system always has the same amount of energy unless it's added from the outside. In other words, from a material elemental sense, even in death, my body isn't going anywhere. My body will be undone. It will break down and return to the earth. The molecules that are in me now will go on, recycled, renewed as some other part of the universe. Just as that same process brought them to me to be part of what I call me in the first place. I will not be lost. I will literally be remade, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Any scientists in the room are free to tell me if I'm doing a disservice to that concept, but it sure sounds to me like the words from one of my favorite hymns. Nothing is lost on the breath of God. Nothing is lost forever. God's breath is love, and that love will remain, holding the world forever. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, for sure. But as Jan Richardson puts it, do you not know what the Holy One can do with dust? That's the story, my friends. From the very beginning, the world we live in is full of meaning and purpose and belonging. The spirit of Creator. The whole thing is God's temple. Everything is holy. And that did not begin with my birth, and neither will it end with my death. Faith, hope, and love remain. I don't know what that looks like exactly. There are many, many words and metaphors within our Christian tradition, many ways to talk about the eternal presence of God, even through death and beyond. But yes, I am going to be okay. I will have what I need in a very real way. Meaning, purpose, and belonging, faith, hope, and love remain. That doesn't save us from anything. Pain, loss, and death are still coming for us. We have to go through it. The undoing is part of the remaking. We therefore commit this body to the ground, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, in sure and certain hope of the resurrection to eternal life through our Lord Jesus Christ. We are dust, meaningful, purposeful, belonging-full dust. Jan Richardson wrote this blessing for Ash Wednesday, but I think it serves us well on Eternity Sunday as well. All those days you felt like dust, like dirt, as if all you had to do was turn your face toward the wind and be scattered to the four corners, or be swept away by the smallest breath as insubstantial. Did you not know what the Holy One can do with dust? This is the day we freely say we are scorched. This is the hour we are marked by what has made it through the burning. This is the moment we ask for the blessing that lives within the ancient ashes, that makes its home inside the soil of this sacred earth. So let us not be marked. Let us be marked not for sorrow. Let us be marked not for shame. Let us be marked not for false humility or for thinking we are less than we are, but for claiming what God can do within the dust, within the dirt, within the stuff of which the world is made, and the stars that blaze in our bones, and the galaxies that spiral inside the smudge we bear. Take heart, my friends. Everything's going to be all right. Amen. May it be.